Hi, my name is Maggie Wuellner. I am the Executive Director of the Hamilton County Republican Party. Can you hear me okay? All right, good. Thanks for having me here today. As you know, we're about 13 days out from the election, so it's a very busy time for us, and it's nice to get out and get some fresh air and take a walk this afternoon and get out of the office. So thanks for having this forum and for inviting me. So the question is, what is at stake with this election? And just to give you some numbers of what the government is currently made up of and how that could change come November, I just kind of wanted to run through some numbers for you. At the federal level, Congress, the House is 255 Democrats, 278 Republicans currently. So in order for Republicans to win back the House, we would have to take 39 congressional seats. A lot of analysts would say that there are probably 100 congressional seats right now that are up and that could be taken over. So there's a lot of possibility that those 39 seats will be taken by Republicans in this coming November. So one of them here is, you've probably been seeing all the ads for the Driehaus and Shabbat race. Steve Shabbat is projected at this point to win that race. So, and then on the Senate side, Republicans have to take 10 seats to win back the Senate, and I don't think that is probably going to happen, but you never know. So right now it's 58 Democrat, 40 Republicans, 2 independents. So at the state level, Caleb already talked about the apportionment board, and a lot of what you're going to be hearing, I think we would probably agree on with this question, but the apportionment board is very important. Like he said, it happens every time there's a census. The districts are redrawn, and the apportionment board, like he said, is a 5-member board that is made up of the Secretary of State, the Governor, and the Auditor. You will see that those 3 races probably bring in a lot more money from donors, because they are so important. You know, we focus a lot on those races, and it's hard to explain to voters about the apportionment board in just a 30-second TV clip, so you don't hear very much about it, but it is very important. And those races, as you know, are very close right now, the polls that we're seeing. So, and in the Senate, as Caleb said, Republicans are expected to hold the Senate, the Ohio Senate, and in the House, the makeup currently is 53 Democrats to 46 Republicans. And then, as you know, he mentioned as well that we have the governor's office that's up in Ted Strickland, the current governor, and John Kasich. And I think a poll came out yesterday that actually showed Strickland up 1 point. Polls leading up to yesterday have shown John Kasich up to 10 points. So I think it's closing, the margin is closing as we get a little bit closer. And then I don't think Caleb spoke at all about the local level. I know you've had Jim Tarbell and Chris Monzel here, but at the local level also there's a lot at stake. We have currently a Democratic control with Todd Portune and David Pepper. David Pepper is vacating the seat so that he can run for state auditor, so that seat's up. And we have Chris Monzel and Jim Tarbell running. And if Chris Monzel wins that seat, the Republicans will retake control of the commission, being one of the only urban county in the state held by Republican control. So that will be a huge change as well. Caleb talked a little bit about the most important election in people's lifetimes, and it is funny because you do hear that almost every big year, that this is going to be the most important election. And really, I do think Republicans believe that. And a lot of times, well, a lot of you are probably hearing a lot about the Tea Party currently, and those people do believe that this is the most important election in their lifetime. And the reason why that is because of the out-of-control spending that we've seen in Washington, D.C. And I don't think that is just the fault of Democrats, because under the Bush administration, spending was out of control as well. Currently, we are at a $13.7 trillion deficit. That means that every single American, to pay off that deficit, owes the government $44,000. I don't know about you, but I do not have $44,000 sitting around to pay the government. During the Obama administration in the last 19 months, the deficit has raised $3 trillion. That is the same amount of debt from 1776 to 1990. So you can just see how it has increased exponentially during the current administration. And that also is equals $4 billion in a single day of spending. So, in addition to the spending issue, obviously a lot of our candidates are talking about the government regulations, that we've seen the increase in government regulations. I think you will find that Tea Party members are interested in this election, A, because of the spending, but also because of the red tape that's been created and the constant interference that the government is taking over our lives. One example of that is the health care bill. If you are a small business owner and you are wondering about if you can bring in a new employee, grow your business, how can you do that when you don't know what taxes you're going to be put upon yourself to keep up with the regulations with the health care bill this year? You know, one of the big issues that you're hearing about is jobs. In Ohio, during the Strickland administration, we've lost 400,000 jobs, including NCR living Dayton. How are any business corporations, small business owners expected to grow their job, grow their their businesses, when they don't know what taxes they're going to have to pay in the future? There's just a lot of uncertainty out there with not just the health care, but with TARP, with cap and trade. The cap and trade issue bill passed the House and is being debated currently in the Senate, but that will change a lot of regulations for manufacturers, especially here in Ohio. If you're a corporation, why wouldn't you send your manufacturing warehouses overseas when they don't have to, I guess, pay all the taxes that we're going to be seeing with the cap and trade bill? So I think there's just a lot of uncertainty out there, not necessarily just on the business side, but also on voters' minds. Families' minds. Currently, just to bring it local and bring it home, I'm looking to purchase a house. I'm nervous about purchasing a house at my age and not knowing what it's going to entail, if I can even qualify for a loan. Those are the sorts of things that Americans are afraid of, they're worried about, and I think that is why we're going to see some changes here in November. At the state level, depending on who wins the governor's office, there is going to be a wide difference between how we see things in next year and in the following 4 years. We have an $8 billion shortfall at the state level, and Governor John Kasich, the Republican candidate, has said that he will not raise taxes. He doesn't care what it takes. He's not going to raise taxes, which means we're going to see a lot of cuts. And I know that Ted Strickland feels that he doesn't need to make those cuts and that he will be raising our taxes. So we'll see it on the state level too. Another issue that the governors will see differently and probably handle differently that is kind of on the plates right now, and you might hear about, is 3C Railway. It's federal dollars that have come here. It's going to be a railway that goes from Cleveland to Columbus to Cincinnati. I think right now the state legislature is hesitant just because we did receive federal dollars for this. I think it was like quite a large sum. I'm not quite sure exactly how much it was, but it's obviously going to take a lot to carry that out in future years, and the federal stimulus dollars that we receive for it is a one-time thing. We don't have the money with an $8 billion shortfall to uphold this 3C railway. So right now it's at the same point. And then